Gets earthquakes, gets hit. Out comes the army on the nuke!
What goes on here with the silence?
The questionable decision making. He gets help from his teammates.
Yeah, he might go down, but he might be paying for that. As he got a little bit of confidence and overstayed his welcome. Body Hunter's going to be absolutely assaulted by all that is huge. But three people on Toronto Unlimited are suffering from DOT.
Right, off the jump pad rotation, Nikki's gonna fall for it and immediately gets collapsed on it. This is not good, that's a double kill. Now Spade's in a very bad situation. He actually managed to find the totem to save his life that we've talked about in the pregame. He is in such a bad situation right now, and he's just taking so much damage. He might be able to make a double here. He actually does.
Oh my god,
and he
all the
finds
dream.
it, and now he's
going now. He's getting taken out. Island knows it's running.
No way. Oh my god,
Cat.
you actually got that.
What an amazing bait, Cat. What is that?
Hello everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the Awesomenauts Scrim Show, hosted by Awesomenauts Rumble, episode 8, I believe, unless I'm already screwing it up. That would be a great way to start it off. But either way, I am Renzi. You've probably seen me a couple times before, and with us is Pyro Cheese.
Hello, I am the illustrious Pyro Cheese here, joining for my first time casting one of these actual Rumble Scrum shows. Very happy to be here. I casted the Scolder Showdown about a week and a half ago, but this is my first time casting some 3v3 action, and I'm excited to be here.
Yes, it's exciting to cast with someone else. I haven't actually casted with you before, so yeah, that sounded very boring. I'm excited to cast. Yeah, except for Pillow. But either way, it's just the Scrim Show. We got 2 awesome scrims to, show today, and we'll be getting into the first one here on Aiglon, and we can probably just get right into the drafts. But first, just remember that we do have plenty of social media stuff down below. You can look, I'm so hilarious because I'm pointing below the stream, haha. But you can look down below for all these social media links and things like Twitter, YouTube, that kind of thing. You can see VODs on YouTube and stuff of Scrim shows and tournament stuff that you may have missed, like the Skull Showdown. Even I'm in it somehow. It's a miracle. But no, you stop that. And we've also got the Awesomenauts Scrim Portal, which is something that we do not own but highly endorse because it keeps the competitive community alive in Awesomenauts by being able to host scrims, and you can talk with more experienced players or new players, figure out how scrimming works, how the draft system works, how Awesomenauts Drafter works, notsdrafter.com. Great site too, and you can just do fun scrims, or you can try to do practice, or you might end up using Nots Drafter to actually go in a tournament. So always good to stay in practice for that. But either way, enough talking about our pretty much advertisement stuff. We have got a game to get into. We've got the first draft. Do you want me to start on the drafts, or do you want to have a go at the drafts, Pyro Cheese?
You can go ahead and take the lead on this one. Maybe next time we'll do it, but we can go ahead and start talking about the drafts either way.
Alrighty, so for the first draft today, unless I have everything mistaken, on the red team we've got Pushkin, Jambo, and Badass Ketchup, and on the blue team we've got I'm just gonna call him Nick. Nick Lixinil. Nick Lixinil. Damn it!
Why couldn't he choose just a simpler name?
Nobody can be that simple. I mean, I could have just been like Ranzi or Uber. No, Uber Ranzi, because I'm an idiot. Don't worry about it. But I mean, yeah, YOLO with his upside down exclamation, look with his upside down eye. Come on, man. Why you gotta be so fancy? But either way, yes, Nick Lixilin, Sidnil, fuck, I swear, whoops, yeah. YOLO and Mr. Pillow.
Yeah. So for the record, really quick, I think on the replay the teams are actually switched. So in the draft, the red team is going to be the YOLOnator team, but I think on the replay the blue team is actually YOLOnator and vice versa. Just as a quick note, but that's it.
Alright, well, either way, so getting into the drafts, because we haven't actually done that yet. We don't want to waste too much time. So for the red team on the draft screen, we've got the bands of. Oh, hold on. Do I have the wrong thing up here? No, that's right. Okay. So for the bands on the red team, or for the first team, we've got Leon, Chucho, and Froggy's bands, with the picks being Genji, Skull, and Rocco. Lots of CC to initiate, and then Rocco's some pretty consistent, easy to throw out damage. And on the other team here, on the, I think the blue team, yeah, on the blue team, we've got the bands of Vinny, Penny, and Swiggins, and the picks of Ted, Lux, and Max Focus. So that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of brawling too. You have a serious amount of damage here, and honestly, like, you know, if you've got Ted with piercing shotgun, that just, you know, you can pretty much throw it whenever you want, because it's basically your auto attack. You have potential for Tetris and grenades. That's even more damage. Defense and airstrike is just so good. And then with Lux, you've got missiles and your really good auto attack. That's fairly easy to land as well. Very strong, just lots of damage. And max focus, because why not? Easy to hit auto attack. Lots of damage with the scene illumination, and 50% time slow that can go through walls, because why not? And for the other team, you've got a ton of initiation. You've got the cocoon, 2-second, pretty much stun, and then you can just get Skull to go in with the throw, and Rocco can do some hops, some body blocking, get plenty of damage out with his auto attack and the precision shot. You can even get some more utility, like going for more slow on auto attack, and split arrows can be a great way to just slow down the entire enemy team by like 30%. And stun arrows, although it recently got changed to be 1 second, it's a lot cheaper now. So honestly, red team has a very clear-cut kill condition of cocoon into throw into Rocco, or throw into cocoon to Rocco, or just Rocco if YOLO decides to pull up the god plays. But and then on the blue team here, you've actually just got so much damage as well as a solid amount of push. You got lots of clear, you got the ability to just body turrets if you get the team wipe, and although it's a little harder to get this to secure the kills compared to the red team, they don't have as much of a defined kill condition. There's so much damage, and with stuff like Lux Charge on the bottom lane of Agalon, and with the Invis, they can make some serious stuff happen, and it's going to be quite scary. So in favor of the drafts, and maybe a little bit on the team with Ted on it, a little bit on the blue team, just a little, just because maybe it's because I like Ted, but just because there's so much damage, and because you got the Jimmy pick on the Jimmy/Amy pick in the Lux 5000 on Agalon, that's pretty good. Either way, if you don't have any, do you have any last notes before we hop into the actual game?
No, I was just gonna say that I pretty much agree with that. Overall, I think both comps are pretty brawl heavy overall, but like you were saying, the team with the Genjana definitely has that kill condition that they kind of maybe not are necessarily relying on the cocoon, but the cocoon is definitely that condition where everyone needs to be around it in order to get a proper initiation, and to have Scolder throw into Rocco, or have Scolder throw period. You know, you might get axe throwing on this map. You know, a lot of people try to get that early just so they can get some quick kills early off the bat and get an edge early. But at the same time, the Ted team, I think, has a much better option when it comes to just general brawling. I think, like you said, they have a lot of AoE damage, a lot of potential damage overall. And at the same time, it's going to be tough even with the initiation from Genji, just because once you get a cocoon off with Genji, that's immediate. Either they let that cocoon go, or there's going to be a team fight happening, especially these kinds of scrims where, you know, these aren't pub matches. If there's going to be a cocoon to be had, everyone, and I mean everyone, is probably going to be setting up around that cocoon to either try to defend their teammate, or to, you know, try to capitalize on the potential kill that comes from that cocoon. So it's going to be an interesting match, just because Rocco is going to be a little bit more of, like you're saying, just kind of generalized damage on demand. But at the same time, I don't think it's going to do a whole lot in the terms of just a full-on team-on-team brawl. I think in a team-on-team brawl, I would definitely say that the Ted team has an edge on that. I
agree with pretty much everything you said there. So either way, we have been talking about this draft for quite a long time, a little too long, I'd say. I don't want Pillow to yell at me. So we're going to get into the first game. And yes, we finally figured out the teams. Pushkin's team, the Ted team, is the red team, and then on the blue team we've got YOLO and friends. But either way, enough about that. Would you like to give me a countdown here for this first match?
Yep, we're just starting at 0-0.
No, we are going to be starting at 12 seconds.
Alright, so let me go ahead and get there. 12 seconds, you said, right?
Yes.
All right, so I'm good at 12 seconds. And we can go ahead and go if you're ready.
Just to give me a countdown. That's the whole point.
No, yeah, I just wanted to double check that we were both there. So let's go
Yes.
ahead in 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So on the red team, we've got Passive Aggressive or Pushkin, Bada SketchUp playing your Max Focus, and we got Jambo playing Lux, 5000 being piloted by Jimmy or Amy. We've got Nick Lick Nil on Skull. We've got YOLO on your Rocco, and we've got Mr. Pillow on the Genji. Kind of one of his best characters. I could definitely attest to that. We got Bada SketchUp going in with both his abilities there. Not gonna be able to do too much with it. Get a little bit of poke damage onto Nick, but you got plenty of creeps and whatnot. The blue team all just stick it together. That's kind of what they do with this team comp. Nick's gonna take a bit of a beating as well as an airstrike. Nick is super hurt now, but the other two members of the blue team here are perfectly fine. But I'd say the red team here has slightly better early game, and they're gonna have a lot more potential unless they can get that sick cocoon from like Mr. Pillow. Blue team's gonna have a little more trouble actually getting that first blood and getting that first frag, just because their early game potential is a little bit less potent. Because Skull and Rocco can definitely use like a solid 500 solar to get their key upgrades early on in order to actually get the kills rolling. Nick's gonna whip that throw. He's gonna take a ton of damage. He's gonna go down to the shotgun shell after the earthquake combo, and Max Focus just going in with the auto attacks and the Steam Illumination. And that's an easy first blood for the red team here at 1:30, actually more like 1:20 when that kill actually happened. Passive Aggressive gonna go in with the airstrike, but actually only gonna hit droids. But now we got the red team making a bit of a push on this top lane here. The cocoon is gonna land on Ted with that one stage of Jagger eggs as well. Going to get 125 health from that Ted, leech all that life, and not too much happening now. We got the core upgrades coming out on Skull. You've got the boots, you've got the stun punch. That's just so effective and so great at setting up kills, but it doesn't matter because Passive Aggressive Pushkin is going to get the first or the second kill on Skull there with the airstrike.
No, yeah, talking about key upgrades, it's kind of interesting to see, especially early game, who goes for what, if they're going to go piggy into some kind of other key ability. Like we did see a pig come out on Skulder to get some earlier access to his boots. That are very, very important for Skull in general, just because it gets him the speed up on a successful throw, which in a lot of cases can help for a kill or help for an escape. Either way, a very, very strong item for him. But I wanted to point out that Ted actually did get Grenade Pour Home, I don't know how to pronounce it really, but stun on Stimpack activation, which as we saw right there, when he was being chased right there, actually let him escape, denying that last punch that would have probably killed him from Skuldir. As well as, being really, really nice to set up kills for him, getting people stuck in airstrikes, which I think was what actually killed the Nixilino in that last death that he had right there. But, so far, it's a pretty good performance on the red team's part. They got 2 kills up on 0, and right now are in the lead when it comes to turret damage for sure. They haven't actually taken any turret damage according to the minimap, except for, of course, the moment that I say that, the health bar shows up on their top turret, but negligible damage either way. But for the time being, blue team has a hard time kind of keeping up with this. I think they don't really have a good chance for initiation. Like you're saying, it's just very, very early game for right now. Rocco, in my opinion, has one of the weakest early games of a lot of the nuts in the game. Just simply not able to keep up too much with a lot of the other base abilities. Vengeance doesn't do too much at base, and Precision Arrow, unless you have some upgrades like AoE and some damage or really anything else, it's a little tough to find them to be very, very able to change the tide of a team fight or any kind of initiation. So right now that is going to be the blue top turret down, and so blue team right now is down a turret, down 2 kills, and almost down an entire level as well. Let me take a quick look at the current solar as well.
We are at 6. The lead in solar right now is 635 for Ted, and everyone else is at about 500 with the exception of Rocco and Genji, who are about 400. So definitely an advantage for the red team, and like 3 kills to 0, a level advantage. This is what I was talking about. The more general damage, even though the blue team has that kill condition, if they can actually go in with the cocoon. But Bada SketchUp is actually super hurt here. Might get taken out by YOLO, but here's the airstrike going to hit Nick.
Oh,
there's the precision shot.
yeah,
YOLO,
that was a nice precision
the God
shot.
Gamer, gonna go in and get that right click in order to get the first kill for the blue team here. They might be able to get some push as well. Precision shot isn't gonna hit anything from that. Never mind. Your God Gamer status is revoked, YOLO. But now these droids are gonna come back again. Blue's push is gonna be neutralized by the red team, and Max is going to be dropping in just a moment. There he is. And, well, the blue team is keeping the pressure on the top turret here. And they're trying to get some push going. And YOLO's definitely going to be able to help with that with the split coin here, the SWA or SWCA coin, which is going to help him clear and also get some extra push on turrets, because if the droids show up, he can still damage the turrets quite effectively. But then there's the Cocoon actually going to hit Jambo. He's going to take 300 damage from that. There's the throw from Nick, but he's going to get caught on the little lip there in the mid drop down on the bottom lane, and he's going to be perfectly fine. Mr. Billon going to dodge that airstrike very swiftly and get the Cocoon on Jambo, with Jambo just going to have to charge out of there in order to not die.
One of the things I want to point out actually is that I think it's actually one of the reasons it's so hard for blue team to go in this composition is specifically because of Max Focus's slow bubble right there. Like you're saying, basically 50% slow bubble, time dilation on command. Because like I was saying, every single time that there's going to be a Cocoon from blue team, from the blue Genji, that's going to be an immediate team fight right there. You know, in this kind of a situation, everyone is going to be involved in that kind of initiation attempt. So it's very, very easy for Max Focus, especially on this map where things are pretty tight, to just, when he sees his teammate being Cocoon, just throw a slow bubble and make it impossible, if not very difficult, for blue team to actually get proper initiation, other than the little bit of range damage that they can do from Genji's auto attack, as well as Rocco. But, you know, not going to be too much follow-up, because, you know, the blue team right now is really, really dependent on DPS. They don't really have a whole lot of bursts, so without a throw initiation into a turret or to the rest of the team and have some sustained damage like that, it's really, really difficult for them to find a kill.
Yeah, like that's the thing, is that slow bubble is just so strong on Angelon as well, because it's so cramped, like as you kind of mentioned before, although you worded it as tight. But either way, yeah. But yeah, so Max Focus and Lux. I was almost said Jambo. Yes, Jambo is not in this game now, confirmed, leaked. But Lux and Max Focus are actually going to be, like, they're just super effective on Angelon just because it's so cramped. Batiscatcher actually going to pick up the kill on Nick there after he tries to go in and get the throw. A little greedy there with YOLO being low health. There's the airstrike. YOLO's going to teleport out of there with Mr. Pillow deciding to walk back on the bony little caterpillar legs. And we got the clear coming up from the red team. Lux is going to get those droids up to the top turret, while Max Focus is going to push this bottom one here. They're getting a good amount of damage. Ted is really good at pushing, and then you got Max Focus and Lux to kind of body the turret and have that little bit of extra behind turret poke. And the slow bubble is going to help. The bottom turret almost going down, and now, like, the red team's going to be at a serious advantage with the 2-0 turret advantage if they can kill this turret here. But Batiscatcher's going to have to retreat after taking quite a bit of damage, and Pushkin coming back in to save the day, but he's actually going to take a precision shot to the face. Jambo trying to get the charge, not quite able to do that. Nick not too hurt. He's going to loop around, though, just to kind of reset and stay safe. Mr. Pillow going to get caught in that scene illumination, but has the Monarch Blessing in order to avoid any serious harm. Airstrike coming out, going to whiff. Actually, it's going to hit Nick. I'm a liar. Nick's going to take a solid, like, 500 damage from that. The Cocoon is almost going to get Batiscatcher, but Jambo is going to go down, while Nick is going to get the combo, the punches, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 combo. Classic. But that's going to be another frag for the blue team here, which they desperately need because of the XP disparity. But because of that kill, they're going to be able to almost catch up in levels here, and they're going to have 2 kills of their own.
No, yeah, absolutely. That was a nice pick off from the Scolder right there with that oily right there they did pick up recently. I just do want to point out the builds that are going out right now at this point. So Scolder kind of going the more classic stun punch into boots into oily, and right now he's starting to pick up some heal punching right there. The Max Focus on the other team, it really is going purely into scene immolation. I mean, that's not maybe not very surprising, but I think that's very, very effective, like I said, on this map. To use your words, on a cramped map like this, that it's really, really effective, especially when it comes to pushing turrets and just having general team fights where, you know, in a cramped map like this, you're probably going to be hitting most of your scene immolation.
Wow, lots of fighting coming out there. Sorry for interrupting here, but Nick almost goes down, but Max Focus is getting a little greedy and is going to get taken out after that big initiation. Everybody just super hurt after that. But Batiscatcher was killed there, and that's going to be another frag for the blue team here, which is very good because they definitely need to get that XP up to par and that money as well. There's nothing wrong with getting a kill.
No, absolutely. Wow, Jambo Invis is going to almost be going down right there, but he's probably just going to be able to teleport out. Yeah, so that was very surprising escape right there, if I do say so myself. Even with Invis, they were on top of him, and he was at about a bar when they actually lost track of him right there. Genji, Mr. Pillow on the other team as well, is going to be going into Lifesteal Cocoon, as well as the Monarch Lesson that gives a health benefit to his teammates as well as himself. So, you know, going very straight support, nothing too crazy right there. I would say, though, in my experience as Genji, that Bronco East against the Max Focus, especially Max Focus, who is focusing on his team immolation, is a very good thing, I would say. It also does help out with things like Ted auto attack, his machine gun auto attack, just because that is a more DPS focused attack. And Nick Lixinol is going to be able to get that last pick off on Skolder right there, not on Skull, well, on Ted right there to secure another kill. So kills are evening up right now. Currently 5-4 in favor of red team.
Oh man,
and
they turned that around.
They did. Rocco was entirely low for that team fight. I was going to point out while I was in the midst of talking about something else, but he is going to be saved by Genji right there, getting that heal blessing and also being able to get a pick off on the Lux on the other team. So kills are evening up right now, 5-5. XP still kind of despairs, but actually in this case in favor of the blue team. I believe that might be because when they're behind in XP, kills are actually worth more to the team that's losing than the one who's in favor. If I remember correctly, I may be mistaken, but either way, red team has evened it up at this point. But blue team and red team are pretty much even right now when it comes to at least XP and kills. Solar, however, red team still has a definite advantage. The top earner has about 1,300, who was their max on the red team, while blue team has about 1,200 to their Skolder, who was the max one. But, you know, Skolder is going to be alone or defending the bottom against the 3. Mr. Pillow, as again, is going to come behind, get a cocoon on Lux, but not much else is going to come out of it. Red team is just going to back out roughly at half health, every single one of them. But still going to be pretty dominant overall in the map territory. Only their top turret is taking about half damage, while blue team, on the other hand, already down 2 of their first turrets, as well as their bottom last turret already at about half health, and their top turret also taking a beating. And yeah, Skolder right there was just kind of trapped right there between a rock and 2 hard places, just being body blocked right there. And that's actually going to be a wipe on the blue team in favor of the red team. So, you know, this is definitely pretty dangerous right there. Blue team was already behind in terms of turret damage, and this is just going to further their lead.
Yeah, the red team's going to get some serious push. They only got a few seconds here before the blue team starts coming back, but it seems like Battlescat is actually going to clear, while Lux is just barely going to be able to take out that turret before he gets swarmed by the Skull and potentially more of the blue team. Nick being the first one here, but Battlescat is actually super hurt. He's going to juke the hell out of Nick.
My
oh
God,
my god!
wow.
The massive jukes! The jukes! Oh, he almost... Oh, and Nick got out. That would have been the sickest play. It still was pretty sick. Battlescat almost actually getting out of that alive, and Nick almost dying. And Jambo's gonna eat the precision shot, but barely live. Oh my god.
That was quite a display up right there by the top tier to throw on Max Focus to what I thought was going to be a definite kill on Max Focus, but Jambo, as Luxask, was able to get in there and take some of those punches, body block Skolder enough to actually negate some of the damage. To become actually a much longer team fight than expected, which almost ended in either, it could have been anyone's kill right there, either a pick off on this Skolder right there, or almost Nick Lixinol getting a double kill on the Max Focus and a Lux, which would have been huge, you know, a 2-0 lead with only Ted left to defend. Would have been a huge thing to get. And there's going to be another huge team fight here at the bottom, and right there, that scene immolation right there in the bottom lane. In the hidden area is going to be pretty devastating and just melt through Rocco's inflow right there. And it is left at 2v2, but blue team still kind of at a disadvantage. Max kind of going in, probably a little too hard, I would say, and is going to be, in fact, be picked off right there. So it's only Lux left to defend, but at this point, droids are pushed about halfway. I don't really foresee Jambo or Lux having a problem defending. As I say that, though, that's one of those initiations that we were talking about, being able to get a cocoon into a throw and then sustain damage from there. And, you know, when it comes to CC, Lux can't really handle that too well, you know, unless it's a very, very well-timed charge and it's escape or something like that. It's very, very difficult to handle. And the blue team is actually going to be able to get a turret right there. So at the very least, it's not shut out, and they are actually evening up kills. But right now, just with the simple 2 pickoffs, you're already seeing a little bit more dominant in terms of map control. Looking at the minimap, all of the red droids are pushed back to their respective turrets, and they're going to be able to get a little push on bottom. 2 droids right there that are going to be destroyed, but another 2 droids right there, and Luck's going to be looking for the charge.
Oh, that was a really good throw. Wow! Oh, is he going to go down to that DOT? Is he?
Like
oh, please! Oh, it was all worth it because of that sick kill. But actually, not really, because the blue team is going to get doubled there, and, well, 2 of them are going to go down. Baddest Ketchup actually super hurt. Oh, man, are we going to have the sick jukes? The master jukers? No, YOLO's just going to back out. Man, what a wuss. But we got Baddest Ketchup are going to go back and clear. Try not to die to the super droid. Okay, good. Just making sure. We got Pushkin actually with the invis here. Passive aggressive. It looks like he's going to go for the aggressive approach. Never mind, the passive approach. And not going to try and get that kill on YOLO. But Genji and Skull are about to be back here, so looks like the red team is going to back up a little. There's Nick going in, trying to get the throw, but he's not going to be able to. There's that time slow bubble in order to stop Nick from any kind of chasing or pursuing. We got Lux running back, and the red team trying to recuperate and regroup so that they can wreck some face. Mr. Bill is going to miss Cocoon. That Cocoon is off cooldown now for about 10 seconds. Decently long cooldown, but there's the precision shot coming out. Gonna do a little bit of chip damage, but here comes Mr. Pillow. Gonna miss the Cocoon again, but Jambo is gonna have that DOT on him. Not too much damage or anything really coming out. Lots of whiffed abilities though. We got the airstrike not doing too much. We got the Cocoons not doing too much. Just one solid ability, and it's gonna really get, you know, set off the team fight, set off the bomb. But looks like Nick is gonna go in with the earthquake. Not gonna be able to land in the throw. Mr. Pillow has so little health now, but passive aggressive. Pushkin is gonna get thrown, but not really anything's gonna happen. But Pillow's gonna have to back off. Well, Jambo and Pushkin gonna get caught in that nice earthquake there, that nice snare quake, but Nick is just here throwing out punches. There's a time slow bubble in order to stop him from doing that. Looks like this top turret might actually go down just because the blue team is too hurt. There's a really nice airstrike and hit 2 members of the blue team, and 2 bars left on that top turret. Could very definitely go down
stunned. The Scolder actually got stunned out of his throw right there, which actually pretty much killed him right there. If he was able to get that throw, he would have get oily, get some potential heal punches, but you know, that was denied to him, and he was just going to go down from the amount of damage that was being pumped out. I will say, though, at this point, that they are starting to get to the late game. However, at this point, I don't know if it matters too much. That's going to be 2 pickoffs on the blue team, where, you know, it's just what left with Rocket to defend. And even with Rocket with split arrows, you know, I find it really, really hard to defend as a Rocket.
The precision shot. Like, the red team is just too hurt, and here comes Nika Lixonil. I can never say his name! But it looks like Ketchup is going to destroy this top turret with the scene illumination, and he's going to fall back. But now that is a lot of turrets down for the blue team, as in all of them. They have no turrets left, they don't really have a safeguard, and that base is at half health. Red team just needs 2, maybe even just 1 solid kill, or just use all their ridiculous damage and keep pushing, because they've got a lot of pressure here, especially with airstrikes, with shotgun grenades, with they've actually got healing on airstrike. I don't know if that's a troll buy or if he just really wants to sustain, but he's actually going to put that to work and get 455 health from that health pack, so don't think it's that much of a troll buy. But Mr. Pillow actually going to take a little bit of damage, but he's going in with the auto attack. It's a mad Genji skills with the Z, but Pillow's actually going to get the Cocoon onto Jambo. Here comes the snare quake, here comes the throw. Oh, yes, he's going to get the throw, and Jambo's going to be taking a massive beating. He's going to go down to YOLO's precision shot. Going to stop the red team from making a push on the base unless passive aggressive or Pushkin, if you want to be boring, and Baddest Ketchup can get the sick frag and keep the push up. But it looks like you've got you got the Monarch Blessing, you've got Cocoon, you've got stun punch, throw. There's just, it's too dangerous to go in against all of that. Like, just so many amazing kits on the blue team. Like, you've got anti-initiation and initiation with Genji, and you've got escape and initiation with like Skull, because you got movement speed after using throw. It's snare quake. Like, it's really hard to go in against that because they might just end up turning it around and you're just gonna die. But Baddest Ketchup is gonna go in, gonna try and do something with the scene illumination or the slow-mo shot. I forgot the name of the ability. Pillow's actually gonna take a ton of damage to the shotgun grenades. My boy Pushkin, shotgun grenades gonna get the frag. Nick is gonna take so much damage. He's gonna get away, but the red team is all alive. The only one even really hurt is Baddest Ketchup. YOLO's here, but I don't think he's going to be able to do much. There's precision shots coming out, but here comes Nick with the nice earthquake. Just kidding, didn't hit anything. Nick's going to take a ton of damage. He's going. Nick has so little health, but so does Baddest Ketchup. YOLO's got to pull out the He's got to prove that he's a god gamer.
Oh, man.
Just kidding.
That was
Yellow's
so
gonna go down,
close either way.
and Bad
Yeah.
was gonna pitch him in along with Pushkin, and they're gonna win that game. The victory to the red team here of Jambo, Pushkin / passive aggressive, and Bad Sketchup.
Yeah, that was a very, very interesting match to say the least. But you know, I would say it's one of those matches where I almost feel like, you know, not to be too much, but I think it almost was decided in the draft because, like we were talking about, the red team, this Ted team, just plainly had an edge when it came to brawling and just overall just raw damage, while blue team, the team with the Genji on it, just had a trouble getting to late game where really I feel like if they would have been able to get to, you know, it would have been a boring match possibly, but if they got to like the 20-25 minute mark, they would have been able to catch up just because late game Genji can be scary, and late game, mid to late game Rocco, I believe, is actually where Rocco really truly shines. You know, he was starting to get some of his team fighting upgrades, you know, getting increased auto attack speed on a successful precision shot, or, you know, getting a cooldown as well on his successful precision shot, as well as, you know, upgrades on his vengeance that lets him do a little bit more damage, as well as being able to control a kind of 3-on-3 team fight, just because that's kind of his effective AoE, in that he'll be able to provide some slow on the enemy, which, you know, slow on a lot of these guys would have been really great. Lux, you know, wouldn't be able to move around so much. Max obviously wouldn't be able to fly as high, and which is really his most effective trait when it comes to juking and trying to escape. But unfortunately, they weren't really able to get that way. Genji overall, I think, was doing, you know, the best that he could, but at the same time, I think it came down to some interesting team fights that came down to a pick-off where some cocoons may not have been able to be capitalized on, or just some whiffed abilities overall. At the same time, though, I mean, overall, it was really interesting fight. Well played either way, and ended up with a victory on the red team in this case.
Absolutely, I agree with a lot of that. I mean, like, I don't know what's the. Well, I said it earlier as well, like, and as you've pretty much stated already, so it's kind of redundant. But the red team just had the more general damage, so they kind of had that advantage in the draft. And after the early game lead, first bloods, and Rocco being needing like a bit of cash, and like Rocco really needs a bit of cash to get going, kind of like Swiggins, and Skull kind of needs a bit of cash to get going. Just because, you know, you really need like stun punch, oily boots, and, you know, depending on your build, you really want to just immediately get snare quake or heal. And he kind of opted for both, and then some auto attack damage to help team fights perhaps. But there's not much you could do once the red team starts getting that advantage so early. And while the blue team did get a couple of nice frags and comebacks, they got wiped once. They lost too many towers too quickly, and that was the end of the game. Over before 20 minutes. But hey, we've still got one more match today for this Scrim Show, so stay tuned. We will be back after a short break with another match. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Awesomenauts Rumble Scrim Show, episode 8. Sorry for the break, but thank you for sticking with us. Just got to get some water, use the washroom, all that good stuff. But we are back. I'm Uber Renzi, but you probably already knew that. And with me is Pyro Cheese.
I'm
How you doing?
Pyro Cheese. We have another match for you today. We already did the first one. Turned out to be pretty interesting. And in this case, we have another one that's going to be on Ribbit. So without further ado, should we go ahead and talk about the draft? I can go ahead and lead that off.
Yes, you may.
All right.
Go right on ahead.
Yeah, so on this map, we have on the first team, we have band nods of Scoop, Swiggins, and Leon, while their pick nods are going to be Na, Ribbit, and Sentry. On the other team, we're going to have band nods of Ted, Vinny, and Genji, and their pick nods are going to be Lux, Penny, and Rocco. So, you know, this is a map on Ribbit, or the map I should say is Ribbit. So, you know, to see both a Na and a Derpal on Ribbit, I think that itself is going to be pretty scary. You know, the only thing worse could have been that they might have picked Yuri instead of Sentry, but, you know, maybe that would have been overkill. But we've all been in those situations in our own solo queue matches where we see a Na on the other team on Ribbit and just like, oh, well, it's going to be one of those matches. So it's going to be really interesting to see what kind of answer the other team can give, because frankly speaking, I think it's going to be really, really hard for them to go in. The only one that I feel might be comfortable going in is Lux, just because he's a tank. You know, that's maybe the only reason that will survive. But other than that, Rocco has some range, but maybe not really going to be able to go in too much. Penny, you know, is really, really dependent on being able to go in and being able to harass things like that. But combined with the area denial from Na, the snares from I was going to say Swiggins, the snares from Turple, as well as the black holes from Sentry, I think it's going to be an interesting match to say the least. But, you know, as far as draft versus draft goes, I do think quite obviously that the Turple Na composition on Ribbit has the edge overall, just from raw aerial denial in this case.
That's definitely true. Like, that's a super strong combo on Ribbit, but the blue team does actually have a pretty good team against immobile tanks, and Derpal is the most immobile of immobile tanks. Because that, even though I'm not a huge fan of Rocco, in this situation against two tanks that have to stay back, spam out their auto attack, spam out their snare traps or whatever, Rocco's a lot better against characters like that, just because his auto attack range is so good without any upgrades, and you know, you can get split coin to make it even more ridiculous. And his damage is pretty good, considering like it's easy to apply damage. A right click that can go through walls across the entire map, and things like the split coin and auto attack range, just so helpful against a team like that, especially against Derpal, I got to admit. So, for the map, the red team definitely has a really good draft, but I think it's a little more even than you might think.
Yeah, I would almost agree with that. I didn't want me to come out too one-sided, but like you're saying, red team does have a couple of answers. Rocco especially being able to shoot through walls, and you know, at the same time, while Derpal is an immobile target a lot of the time, Ribbit is his best map just because there's that big channel that he can move in and out of pretty easily, as well as glass platforms all over the place where, you know, he's not going to be immobile the entire time. But either way, it'll be an interesting sight to see how both teams answered both of these, because, you know, once it gets into team fights, just generalized team fights, I would still say that red team does have the advantage in that case, just because once you know, Nuke is gone from Derpal, I think that's their big damage dealer right there, aside from Black Hole. But, you know, red team does have to feed him that Black Hole in the first place. So overall, it'll be interesting. Both teams have strengths in different places, but, you know, the red team, well, I guess technically blue team on the replay, I don't know why the teams are backwards, but regardless, I think it'll be an interesting match.
I agree, but either way, we've been talking about the drafts long enough. We should probably get into this actual match. I'm at the 12-second mark. Would you like to give me a countdown?
Let's go ahead and do that. And 3, 2, 1, go.
Alrighty, so on the red team, we've got Mr. Pillow playing Rocco, Kyler playing your Lux, and Chinaman, but actually, Nick Lickin, whatever, playing your Penny.
Yeah, I'd rather call him that messed up name than Chinaman, I gotta say, so, you know.
And we got Antimatter Dynamie But actually, Dynamite, his name's just cut off. Playing your sentry, he's got the fully charged black hole. You could just use it on Chinaman here, on Nick. I know. Whoops. But Antimatter's just getting shoved into the corner. He's down. But now Kyler and Mr. Pillow are in a kind of a bad spot. There's the snare trap. One siege mode, and they're both done. Mr. Pillow should go down. He is going to go down.
Yeah.
And so is Kyler with the double kill from the Gnaw.
That is such an early wipe for the blue team against the red team right there, and that's pretty devastating, especially if Derpel and Gnaw are going to be the ones left alive. They can get a serious amount of push right there, and that's already a third of the turret health gone, basically. Well, more of a quarter, I would say. I was even being a bit generous there, but still, early wipe for the blue team is going to give them up 3 kills to 1, as well as give them a full, comfortable level lead in that case. So you know,
I never even got to finish introducing the everybody, just because the team fights were just so fast, just in your face, just immediately lots of death. Jambo's playing your Derpel, and you've got passive aggressive, aka Pushkin, playing your Gnaw. So a few returning characters from the last match, but either way, that's out of the way. Now we can get back into the actual match. And we got Derpel trying to keep control of mid, as well as Sentry and Gnaw. Antimatter is going to have a fully charged black hole once again, getting that feed that he needs. Well, Mr. Pillow is kind of going to try and teleport out of danger. Kyler's in kind of a bad spot with Mr. Pillow, but passive is going to go down. With the red team being so hurt, Kyler's going to go out. It's the same thing! It's the same thing!
It is,
What's happening?
Yeah, all of these 2 wipes on the blue team before Solar Boss even spawned, and it just spawned right there. And Antimatter Dan and me is going to be able to get that Solar Boss for some extra farm and that. But it is going to be free.
It's 2 wipes in 2 minutes in the exact same spot. Like, what? How?
Yeah, that is pretty ridiculous. It's going to be a 2-level lead for the blue team right now. 6 kills up to 2. I was going to start talking about items at this point, but I don't know. It's almost a little early to talk about that, even though there's been a whole lot of actions.
Oh, there we go. Now the red team can retaliate. They're going to get the frag on Jambo after he picks up the kill on Penny.
Yeah.
So there you go. You did it, red team. You did it, Kyler. Proud of you.
Yeah, so this isn't an entirely lost cause, at least. It was at least a trade at that point, and
Pillow, don't die to the solar boss. Okay, okay, good. I thought he was gonna die to the solar boss for a second, but yeah, we got so many droids on this top tower as well as a super droid, I think.
Yeah,
so blue team's got the massive pressure and area control advantage, as well as having like a non-dirt, but they can hold that really easily. Antimatter doesn't have a black hole; he just used it with Kyler. Gonna take a little bit of damage. Kyler, I think it's Kyler, but they're going to just try and rotate around. We got Jambo, Antimatter, and passive aggressive / Pushkin. They're all just kind of grouping together. Just kidding. No, they're not. Jambo's going to get caught in the charge. He's very fat, though. He's very hard to push around, but he's still going to go down to the auto attacks with the Rocco. Rocco just putting in his work against tanks. That's what he's good against. Passive aggressive is super hurt. He's going to go in and be cheeky with this bit. He's actually going to be able to pick up the kill on Penny.
Oh, wow.
But there is just he just walks into the precision shot there, and then the auto attack kill on Sentry.
Very, very aggressive match right now. It's just non-stop. We're about 4 minutes into this match, and already on the board there's 14 kills. 14 kills in 4 minutes. That's insane. I've had 40-minute matches with less kills than that. So this is kind of a little bit ridiculous right now. Both teams kind of going at it hard. The top blue tier is actually going to take a lot of damage from that. Only left with about a quarter of health. So even if the blue team got a wipe, 2 wipes actually very early in the game, it's still anybody's game. We were talking about that earlier, that blue team is going to have that areas now in the middle, but when it comes to overall team fights, I do still feel now seeing it in action that red team does have a little bit of an edge, especially if they can get a nice initiation from Lux or just general good damage placement from Penny as well as Rocco. So overall this is becoming much more interesting, or at least much more aggressive than I would have thought it would previously have been.
Yeah, and we got Kyler actually taking a lot of damage, getting chased by Antimatter, but Mr. Pillow's going to pick up the kill on Pushkin as he's trying to chase Penny or Kyler for the kills. Mr. Pillow and Kyler are going to try and teleport out of there, but we've got not Chinaman, Nick, going to be by himself here, holding the fort on this bottom lane, grabbing the creep, steal what he can. He's going to try and kill the solar boss now that his teammates are back. Gonna hopefully not die to that. You never know what happens on the Scrim Show, but Jambo is going to try and get some push going on this bottom turret. Gonna clear the droids so that their droids get a few chops of that turret. Just show up, get that crack on the health bar, and you're good to go. Jambo just stuck in this mid area, but there's the black hole. Looks like it's not gonna catch anyone though, unfortunately. for the blue team. But Mr. Pillow's going in with the vengeance. He's got all that vengeance, all that slow. That's very easy to apply, even if it's only like 15 or 20%. Yeah, it's 15%. But Mr. Pillow is going to actually do a lot of damage to Pushkin here, with all of the blue team very hurt right now. All just backing up with Jambo. Going to get the nice snare trap, but he's going to eat a precision shot and the pounce, and just going to go down. Now with the red teams evening up the kills after that catastrophe of like 2 wipes in a row. Oh, they're even going to get the kill on Antimatter, and now it's just Pushkin here. He's going to get charged into like the corner.
Yeah,
and he's
and
going
that
to
makes
jump
him
away,
pretty...
but.
No, yeah, that's gonna be 2 kills on the blue team right there. And not anti, passive aggressive still gonna be going in there, trying to steal the solo boss or maybe just shove him off of it, but unfortunately paying for that with his life. They didn't even bother going for the rest of the solo boss, just going for that free push at that point. So at this point, you know, kind of interesting turn of events. Even if blue team might be a little bit better in their full composition to hold middle and kind of have a general push advantage. Right now, they are a little bit disjointed. They're actually being staggered in kills. You know, red team is taking the opportunity to make up for those earlier wipes that they had on themselves. And, you know, being able to come back a little bit, being able to not only win a lot of the team fights that were being handled, but actually now having a bit of a push advantage themselves just by being able to stagger the enemy enough to where they actually have a lead in kills now, 10 to 8 kills. As well as a solo advantage. One of the things I want to point out, overall, you know, rough to estimate, but maybe they have an overall 350 solo advantage compared to the blue team overall, which you know, that could be a few key upgrades right there. You can see
it's more. I'd say it's more like 100, maybe 150. It's not that huge, but it is going to make a difference. That's about an upgrade or 2. More like 1 upgrade, but a decent upgrade, and that could definitely change specs. But Kyler's going to get caught in the snare trap. There's Jambo with the drop nuke, going to do a ton of damage. Kyler's going to have to charge out of there and not be able to help too much with the team fight. Antimatter going to try and get the cheeky telefrag. Don't think he's going to hit anyone. Mr. Pillow's got the vengeance. He's just going to get out of there before he takes too much damage from Pushkin. There's the precision shot coming out, going to hit Antimatter, but not too much because he is a very beefy, well, robot. He doesn't have any beef to speak of. Very mechanical beef, but he is going to eat the precision shot and the pulse. But here comes Jambo with the drop nuke, going to do a ton of damage to Nick here. He's going to have to be careful. He's only at about 2 bars here. But the blue team is collectively pretty hurt as well. Antimatter's going to get the black hole on Kyler, but he's going to have to back off. But passive aggressive / Pushkin going to take a precision shot to the face, but go back to bottom lane and rotate out and retreat. Well, Mr. Pillow is now just under Jambo. Here comes Jambo with the drop nuke, but the missiles and the precision shot are going to get the kill on Jambo, giving that 11-8 for the red team here. So they've definitely recovered from those 2 wipes, I'd say. There's a nice precision shot on Antimatter, but it might actually cost him because he could take a ton of damage from that black hole, like 800 damage in total with the Gnaw plant slime as well. Antimatter's super hurt. He's going to go down to Nick's auto attack shots, and here comes Pushkin. He's actually super hurt. He's in a terrible spot. That's what a position. What's happening? He's Mr. Pillow's choking with the right clicks, but here comes Nick. Nikolic with the pounce in order to secure that kill. Now the red team's going to finally be able to get some push, maybe with Mr. Pillow with the split arrows is going to be able to try and clear, but Durple is already back. They got to get to the bottom turret before Durple does, and Durple is going to go for the drop nuke. He's going to do a ton of damage to Mr. Pillow and Nick, but this turret is going to go down. There's the right click. Doesn't even need to charge it, and is going to pick up the kill on to Jambo. Well, we've got Antimatter Dynamite trying to go in, but it's a 1v3 here, even with the shielding from that black hole charge. He's actually going to get Nick in it, though. Is he going to go down? Nick is barely going to stay alive. No, he's going to go down to the Pushkin's DOT / auto attack, but Mr. Pillow is going to pick up the kill with Antimatter Dynamite now falling back on this top lane here. And he's got to be careful because Kyler could just go in with the danger pins and the missiles and actually get the kill here if he's not careful. So, a little bit of push coming on to the bottom turret, though.
Yeah, I do want to say, like, I almost feel like red team at this point is in a fairly comfortable lead overall, you know, coming back, like you're saying, from those 2 wipes, being able to pull it back, but, you know, here's going to be another bit of a team fight. It's going to be both of them caught in the black hole, and Nuke coming out on Durple, actually missing Lux right there, so both of those guys are going to be surviving for the moment as the remaining teammates from each fight, or from each team, I should say, comes in. But that is going to be Durple going down to Nick Lixenel over on the red team. Mr. Pillow kind of in a tough situation, but his team comes in clutch and actually going to be able to secure that kill on Gnaw right there. So this is what I'm talking about here, where I feel like the red team overall has a little bit better of a fighting composition than the blue team. They're able to actually get in there and actually stagger the deaths and lives of their opponents, and that's actually what's giving them the advantage in terms of map control, kills, and solo overall. You know, right now we're looking at about 18 kills as opposed to 9 kills on the blue team. So that's that right there is really, really significant. You know, the solar gain, the experience gain, and you know, looking at the current solar, the top leader from solar wise on the red team, the Lux, has about 1700 solar, while the top on the blue team, the Sentry, only has about 1250. So, you know, just, you know, as far as top leader goes, that's already like a 500 solar lead right there. That's huge. That's, you know, depending on which upgrades you get, 2, 3, or 4 of them. So right now, at this point, I would say it's looking pretty rough for blue team, but that is going to be a nice combo right there where Lux gets stuck in that black hole and just getting a full damage and nuke on that as well. And I never got a chance to talk about items, but now that we're reaching kind of like mid-ish game, some of the items are starting to come out, like the time duration on Snare from Durple was actually what let that kill on Rocco be had, I would say, just because, you know, stuck in Snare for a while in front of a turret, you know, that's gonna be a lot of damage right there. Penny right here looking at a rough spot, gonna be all those stuck on the blue side of the map and just looking for any kind of exit. Doing a good job of distracting, honestly. One of the things that I feel like is a little bit underrated.
Is he gonna get this kill on Pushkin? I swear. Antimatter's gonna go in with the telefrag and the black hole. I don't think it's gonna happen. Yeah, goodbye. But there's Persist Shot. A little more damage, and Antimatter could have gone down there. But actually, he's gonna get the kill on Jambo. Wow, not even paying attention to Worstcaster. But Mr. Bill is gonna get killed in retaliation. Lance managed to teleport out of there with Pushkin by himself here, pushed the top lane, got that nice lifesteal. Even though it got nerfed, not got nerfed to general a little bit. He is still he's still fairly potent. He's got plenty of damage with plant slams, auto attack, DOT, and he can chase quite well with Rabbit's Teeth. So, you know, he's still definitely a viable and good pick. With this bottom turret actually taking a lot of damage, might go down here. Blue team is going to pick it up. Pushkin getting the bites on it. Nom nom nom. Turrets never tasted so good. But we got Nick here going in. He's going to try and do something, but Kylo's going to get caught in that black hole to take a ton of damage, but Pushkin's taking too much as well. But Chinaman, or I mean Nick, is going to go down to the drop nuke, making that a 1-for-1 here, but now Antimatter and Jambo are a little low on the abilities, but Kylo's going to get caught in the nice snare trap, meaning Pillow is going to have to pull out the clutch Rocco 1v2 montage plays. Start playing the ESC Rocco theme song. Awesome Rocco funky. He's gonna run away.
I like how you're saying that as he was just taking all the damage and like not really dishing out too much of his own, honestly.
Yeah.
So that was like epic Rocco montage as he is just dying.
Yeah, that's my rendition of the Rocco theme song. The actual Rocco theme song would be if he's actually winning, but you know, instead you just get me. But Super Droid is not quite dead. There you go, Mr. Pillow. He's gonna clear those droids here. Pushkin coming back to help his team, but actually just kidding, his team is going to abandon him now. Pushkin is by himself on the top lane. Gonna try and steal the solo boss. No, not going to be able to. Nick is going to not steal that creep though, and now he's taking a ton of damage. He's underestimating the hell out of Nas damage, but no, Pushkin is underestimating the power of the red team. So much underestimation, and he's going to go down for that. Yeah, that's what what's gonna work? Teamwork. And now, best like toddler show of all time. If anyone gets it.
I couldn't even recognize it at first, so let's.
But either way, Kylo's gonna get caught in the snare trap. He's gonna take a ton of damage from that telefrag, but Antimatter is gonna take a ton of damage as well and go down while charging that black hole. Is not able to get it out. But now Jambo's got that nuke, and Nick is gonna try and run away. He's going to succeed, not without taking a little bit of damage, but Jambo's gonna take even more, and that amp damage, persistent shot, definitely gonna sting. But we got Pillow, Kyler, and Nick gonna kill that bottom turret finally, with it being at low health for quite a while. Jambo's gonna have to run away here. Here comes the nuke though. It might catch out Kyler. Oh, he's so hurt. He's baiting him with that teleport. He's gonna teleport out with, as well as Penny. Mr. Pillow's by himself now, getting chased by the Gnaw, taking so much damage from those plant slams. Pillow is not gonna be able to do anything. He's not gonna be able to kill that creep in time or anything, and he is out of there. Gonna go down to Nas DOT. Well, we got Chinaman. I mean Nick. Nick is gonna be taking quite a bit of damage, but passive aggressive. Well, he's being a little too passive this time, as he's gonna take a lot of damage and go down. With Nick and Kyler being super hurt here. One nuke could kill them, but the nuke is going to whiff and not be able to kill them. Anyways, so now Jambo and Antimatter, the big tanks, the mechanical beef of the team. They got a super droid on bottom they haven't dealt with yet, but it's not going to do too much for a little bit. They can kill that in a couple of seconds, but they're going to lose out on some push on bottom. If they don't kill that, they're just kind of hiding in mid, not really doing anything when they could be clearing. Hint, hints.
Yeah.
But looks like the red team is going to regroup, and try to steal this health back. Pillow? No, not quite. But, oh, Nick is going to take a ton of damage from the drop nuke, and sentry, and he's gonna have to go back. He's gonna kill the solar boss for his team, get a little bit of health perhaps, and Mr. Pillow is actually gonna steal that because Mr. Pillow is just so mean and awful. Kyler's gonna get caught in the snare trap though, but he has 2 bars. Is gonna teleport out of there, get out safely. So even with the nuke black hole combo, he's not quite able to survive, and Jambo's gonna go down to Mr. Pillow's auto attack. Antimatter's gonna pick up the kill in retaliation though, but he's actually pretty healthy right now. Nick is going to try and run away here with Gnaw with that rabbit's teeth. You got to be careful. I believe he has rabbit's teeth, right? Yes, he does. But he's just going to try and chase.
Self-respecting Gnaw win, right?
Yeah, pretty much. But do you really have that much self-respect when you're playing Gnaw? Got him. But
I mean, yeah. I can't really disagree with you.
I'm so mean. I'm sorry. What a mean caster.
I mean, yeah, we could talk about that all day, but nah.
Too bad stole the solar blast from Gnaw there. Wow.
Yeah.
But Pushkin's gonna go in and he's gonna take a ton of damage, 318 damage from missiles, and he's gonna go in and get the kill on Antimatter Dynamite because his name gets cut off. Hilarious. But now Jambo, if Jambo goes down here, that's the end of the game. Nick is gonna eat the snare trap and the nuke, but he is going to try and go in anyways. He's got that regen. I don't know if he has any other form of sustain. It looks like he has a herring snack badge, and well, he's not going to do much. Jambo's going to get the drum nuke, but it's going to do a little bit of damage to Kyler, but he's going to take too much damage in retaliation. Doesn't have enough health despite having like 3,000. I think that might be it, actually. Yeah, that's going to be the end of the game. Mr. Pillow's pushing top, but that's not even going to be necessary because Kyler and Nick are going to be able to kill this base. Yes, they are. That's going to be the victory for the red team here. The team of Mr. Pillow, Kyler, and Nick. Nick is
nice. Definitely a different outcome and kind of different turn of events than I was expecting. Like I said, you know, I do admit that it was kind of biased. I was like, oh, it's Triple and non-Rivet. It's obviously going to go to that team. But, you know, I think one of the biggest benefits that the other team had was their ability to capitalize on general team fights and general team play as well. Frankly speaking, I feel like the blue team was a little bit disjointed, especially when it came down to them being off kilter and kind of being put on this rhythm of one of them always being down. So, you know, when one of them is always down, 2v3, no matter what kind of comp it is, that's always a difficult scenario to be in. And I feel like a lot of times they're just going in 1v3 or 1v2, which a lot of cases, if you're in that situation, you just got to kind of relax a little bit, let whatever turret damage that you're going to take happen. It's not worth risking your life for a turret in a lot of cases, you know, rare exceptions. But I think that's one of the things that Red Team really capitalized on is being able to keep them constantly off kilter, especially after an impressive display of 2 team wipes on them. They were able to come back and actually pull out a victory out of this.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it looked pretty, to be fair, it looked pretty grim for the red team when they got wiped twice in 2 minutes in the exact same spot on the map. Like, I don't know how that happens, but I guess it just did. But then they came back from it because the blue team just would not recuperate. They were just like, they just kept going in because it's like, I saved turret, that's good. And, well, they died. And they were just so staggered for so long, like, saw like 2 minutes of just like, you know, getting killed one by one. Not too good for your team. And that's going to help feed the red team back up to even kills. And then they're going to get the huge advantage because they have a great team comp against the blue team here. Like, well, maybe not great, but it's definitely pretty solid, especially Rocco against all the tanks and stuff. And Petty just being good and, you know, not getting a little bit nerfed in a 3.5. But either way, the draft was a little bit, I think, in favor of the red team right now. Just a little bit, mostly because of Rocco and Penny just having all that damage against tanks is really nice. But I'm surprised that it was just really weird in the early game where it was just like 2 wipes in 2 minutes for the blue team, and they're going to get a bunch of push on the towers so early. What's happening? And then they just kept getting staggered, and they kind of threw the game because of that. But it was a bit of a silly match, but it was a fun watch, I got to admit. And, well, that's the end of the second match of the Scrim Show here. So that means that's pretty much the end of this this episode of the Scrim Show, the 8th episode of the Scrim Show. So we're going to be able to wrap things up pretty soon here. I'd also like to point out there's a lot of kills in this match as well, actually.
Yeah, we'll
like,
point that out, too.
Yeah, we got, like, what, 43? What's that?
It's going to be 44.
Oh, 44. My bad. I don't know how to math. But either way, I think that's going to be it for this episode of the Scrim Show here. So thank you everybody for tuning in and whatnot. Thanks to Pyro Cheese for helping casting today, and thanks to Mr. Pillow for hosting the stream as well. Yeah, we've got just a couple of end of stream plugs, I suppose. We've got all of our social stuff down below. You know, social links like Twitter, YouTube, like with videos on demand, etc. And we've also got the Awesomenauts Scrim portal and Steam group, all sorts of good stuff so that you can get involved in events, learn when the Scrim shows happen or when any streams or tournaments are happening, learn how to sign up for them, all that good jazz. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Do you have anything you want to say? Anything you want to plug personally, like a stream or something?
Sure, I suppose. I mean, for those of you who know me, you probably don't know where to find me. I do stream some pretty consistently often, at least by my perspective. Just twitch.tv/pyrocheese. Simple. You see my name right there on the screen probably. Just put twitch.tv/ in front of it. You can find me right there. Streaming Awesomenauts all the time. Play a couple of other things, but mostly Awesomenauts. You know, I think anyone in this community can agree to that. But, you know, that's really all I have to plug at this point. But thank you for having me regardless. It was a blast casting this. Hopefully I can be present for some future castings. And it was a good time overall. Thanks for having me, both Pillow for organizing this and Rancy for casting this with me.
No problemo. And you can also find my stream, even though I rarely stream, at twitch.tv/Rancy. I'm going to plug my stream. I'm going to be famous. But yeah, enough about that. I think we're about done here, but thank you everybody for tuning in once again. Remember, same time next week, 9 a.m. Eastern, unless there is an announcement saying it might be sooner or later or anything like that. Happens sometimes. But Thursday, 9 a.m. East, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. I'm not sure what the European time zones would be. I'm Canadian, don't judge me. But either way, we're done here. Enough talking about all this garbage. Thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.